Good evening, Greater New Bedford and the South Coast region, and welcome to our 7th edition of the South Coast Job Central program, right here on New Bedford Guide. I am your host, Ian Abreu. It is an honor to have each and every one of you joining me here this afternoon. For those of you who may be tuning in for the first time or listening for the first time, a little bit about the show. The purpose of the South Coast Job Central is to connect you, the resident of New Bedford, Greater New Bedford, and the South Coast region, to employers, job coaches, economic and workforce development professionals to help you meet your needs when it comes to workforce development, when it comes to getting you to where you want to be in your career. If you're about to be a college or high school graduate, if you find yourself maybe underemployed, this is the program and the resource that we want you to be able to count on to come to once a week to find out what's happening in your community when it comes to jobs, who's hiring, and how we can help you get to, again, where you want to be professionally. And my guest on today's program is a good friend of mine, someone who I've dealt with professionally now for going on 3 years, wearing my other hat in my city capacity. But this is Mary Rapoza. Mary Rapoza is the department head and director of the Parks, Recreations, and Beaches department here for the city of New Bedford. And Mary, it's a pleasure to have you on our program.
Thank you for asking me, Ian.
That's a pleasure. You're becoming quite a fixture here at New Bedford Guide. You were with Mike last week. Now you're with me.
This is my second time.
And you're enjoying it so far? You like it?
I sure am. I always enjoy the opportunity to get the word out about all the great things we're doing in our department.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the summer job employment program and what you and your department and the wonderful work you're doing, those who didn't get to maybe watch the program with Mike last week, would you mind just giving our viewers and our listeners a little brief overview about who you are and what your department does?
Sure. Our department is Parks, Recreation, and Beaches, and we are responsible for the management of all of those, the parks, recreation, and beaches, as well as the programming. And especially with the programming, we do quite a bit of hiring. So during the school year, we have 4 after-school programs. All of those are staffed by city residents. We also have a recreation center that's actually quite busy, and there's all sorts of vendors who bring programming like yoga and Zumba, and we have boat building coming up, April Vacation Week.
I saw that on your Facebook. That's cool, yeah.
Yeah, it's really terrific.
Well, that's great, and thank you for being here again. And you've been with the city for how many years now?
It'll be 5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you've done a great job. I can
thank
say
you.
firsthand, you've been very engaged in the community, and that's great to see.
Well, I love my work. I really do.
And you live here, so you live here.
I'm a
and
resident,
for you,
and I've been thinking about these parks since I was very young.
For you, it's personal, right?
It is. It
it's
really
your parks,
is.
And
that's right.
Yeah, we've done a lot of great work together, and we're going to continue to do a lot of great work together in many different hats. So I appreciate you coming here. So let's dive into this.
Mm-hmm.
So every summer, you and your department, you are looking for applicants to hire for summer jobs. They must be at least 16 years of age by the effective date of the program, and the deadline to submit the application by, if you are interested in some seasonal work with the city of New Bedford, is by April 20th. That's a Friday at 4 p.m. If you look through all this, Mary, there's a lot of jobs available for high school seniors, college graduates, or college students. What's going on? We have a lot of jobs here. You want to give us a little bit of an overview of the kind of jobs that are available? And these aren't just part-time jobs, folks. You're looking here, 40 hours a week, 35 hours a week. There's a chance for some teenagers or some young adults to earn some real money here.
It's true. We do have quite a variety of jobs. So we have entry-level jobs, and those are our Play in the Park summer food program positions. And those are great entry-level positions for anyone who's about to turn 16 or doesn't have, adequate or any job experience. They're assigned to a park, playground, or housing authority site where we do every day, 11 to 2, we do activities with the youth who show up, and we also offer free lunches. And the great thing about the program for first-time workers is that we also have site monitors, and the site monitors really are job coaches. So, for a first-time employee, the coaches really work with them on job etiquette, what's expected when you're
the
going
soft
to work.
skills.
Exactly. And so, if you show up and you don't have your staff t-shirt on, we're not going to fire you that first time. We're going to work with you because we want everyone to be successful. Obviously there may be infringements that would result in someone losing their job, but that's so rare because we really want folks to be successful. And the great news is that so many kids who have come through that program and started with us as their first job are now still working with us in our after-school programs. They come back every summer, or else they say, gee, I would love to come back, but hey, I just got a full-time job. So it's really one of the best parts of my job is seeing these young people grow during the summer. But as you said, there's also full-time jobs. So we hire for our Kennedy Summer Day program, which is our camp-like program that we have down at Fort Tabor. And for those, there's camp counselors, there's the group leaders who oversee the camp counselors, and then there's a director and assistant director. And for those positions, we usually hire kids who have at least some experience working with
Yep.
children. And so a lot of we have more college-age kids working in that program, and some of them have come up from the Play in the Park program, so we're already familiar with their work habits. We have, of course, as I said, the site monitors, the job coaches. Those are full-time positions. A lot of those tend to be, we get a lot of school department employees who come and work for us for the summer, which is great for them and really great for us. They know the culture, they know a lot of the kids. It just works out really well. Of course, we staff the beaches with lifeguards. And the lifeguards do require a lifeguard certificate, but every year we run a lifeguard certificate training program, and we will be doing that again this year. I believe it starts in May, but if anyone wants more information about that, they can certainly go to our website or call the office and get that information.
And that website and number is?
The website is the City of New Bedford website, so it's newbedford-ma.gov, and our phone number is 508-961-3015.
What's the age range that you normally would receive applications for these kinds of jobs? You must have a certain age range that you prefer, correct?
Oh, not necessarily. As I said, the Play in the Park program, we have, as long as you're 16, you are eligible. And we have folks who, are in their 60s who are working for us. So it really is just across the board.
That's great.
Yeah.
A lot of folks, I think, tend to think that these summer jobs are just for high school seniors or about to be seniors or college, soon-to-be graduates or, college students and their summers off. And I'm sure
Right.
that's a great portion of your applicants, but it's not all of them.
No, it certainly isn't. And this year, we're going to be offering a brand-new position, a park ambassador position.
Explain that, please.
So the park ambassador is going to be responsible for overseeing the special events at Fort Tabor and being a greeter and a facilitator for the general public at Fort Tabor.
So basically the concierge on behalf of the
Yes.
City of New Bedford, basically.
That's correct.
That's
Yep.
really nice. Where
Yeah.
would that person be, in that little area when you go to drive in to the park?
They would have that booth available as well as an office, but we're hoping that they'll be, mostly walking around the park and engaging with the public.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's great because I live in the South End, as I think you know, and
Yep.
I'm a stone's throw from Fort Tabor and all of our parks, but I'll just speak on behalf of Fort Tabor and Hazelwood and Buttonwood and all these great parks. It's great to have a level of engagement, especially during the summer when you have a lot of visitors and tourists coming to the City of New Bedford.
It's true, and Fort Tabor is certainly a well-loved park.
That's great. Now, as far as the hoops or lack thereof, or not a lot of hoops, I don't think, to apply for the job, you have to submit a query form. So explain that process. You have to obviously be vetted. You have to have a clean background.
Yep.
Talk about that.
So once the application is complete, you would bring it to our office at 181 Hillman Street in Building 3, and we're right on the first floor. And we have a selection process, so we would look at what jobs you're interested in, and we just file them in, and then we start with the jobs that require the most skill. So we usually will bring on the directors of the programs first, and then working with the directors, we would review the applications, call in applicants that we're interested in interviewing. They would go through the interview process and either get hired or go into the pool for the Play in the Park program. And we do that for the Kennedy Summer Day Program, the lifeguards, the beach lot supervisors and attendants, and this year again, the park ambassador. We also have 2 positions that work with the food service program, a van aid driver and a van aide. So all of those positions would receive an interview and either get hired or get put into our pool for the Play in the Park program. The Play in the Park program, we actually do a lottery for hiring for that program. And we instituted the lottery, actually just before I came on, I believe they instituted the lottery. But I really love using the lottery to fill those spots because, as I said, they're entry-level jobs with job coaches. And we want to make sure that the student who passes the query, so that you have to pass the query, but if you pass
Very
the query,
important.
we want to give everybody equal opportunity to have a shot at those jobs. So if you have 0 interview skills and you maybe are, really timid about it, well, you don't have to worry about that for the Play in the Park program because it literally is a lottery. And then once we go, we just randomly sort the names on the computer. And we start at the top and we just start calling kids until we get all the slots
Seems like it's the
filled.
most fair and equitable way to do this,
I think so.
for sure.
We do offer 2 full days of training, so they certainly get
Paid
plenty-
training, obviously.
Paid training,
Of
oh
course.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Training's always
We have to
paid.
stress that.
That's
Paid,
right.
folks.
Absolutely. And so they get trained in the summer food program, the proper handling of the food, because it is a USDA grant-funded program, so there's a lot of training involved with that. We train on how to engage the kids and keep them active, and we also do mandated reporter training for them because they'll be working with the youth. And then, of course, some of that soft skills, we just go to give an overview.
Does the hourly rate and rate of pay differ depending on the position, or is it all the same across the board?
Oh, no, absolutely. So the Play in the Park program, those positions are at $11 an hour. And then it scales up from there. So obviously lifeguards are really a prime commodity, and there's a lot of competition for lifeguards. So we have to make sure that we're paying comparable to other communities so that we can fill those slots.
Well, when you have West Island and Horseneck Beach and all these other
Right.
beaches nearby who are all pulling from that same pool, right?
Exactly, yep, that's right.
And I've got to tell you, I've experienced it firsthand living near the beaches, and they're well-staffed. And the young men and women who you have down at the beaches are very professional. I see them in the morning picking up the garbage even
Yes.
before they start.
They keep busy, they really do.
But you know what, Mary? That's all part of the perception and
that's right.
and being a professional is
Yep.
getting a few minutes early to the site and cleaning up the work site and really portraying that sense of this is a professional, legitimate atmosphere. And I want to commend you and your department and the city for really instilling that sense of pride in our young men and
Exactly.
women who are working for us, and in particular your department.
Thank you. And really, it is about pride. It's about having pride in the job that you're doing, but also the place that you're working. I think that pride is exactly what we're trying to instill in these young people.
Now, hopefully, your young men and women aren't picking up any trash at the garbage, so folks, please, there are receptacles there. Please throw out your McDonald's bags and your
Yes.
cooler remnants. Please throw it out. We have the bins there.
Yes,
and
we
our
do.
DPI does a great job picking all up those garbages in the bins. As you know, during the summer, those bins are never overloaded. They do a great
They
job.
do. They really try to stay on top of it.
So we talked about the hourly rates, so it's good to know that it starts at 11, obviously minimum wage,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes up depending on the position, and it could scale up.
Yes.
Now, you talked about the training, we talked about all of that good stuff, the duration of the employment. I'm assuming it goes up until Labor Day?
Right, so some of the positions, like the lifeguard position, starts late June and goes through Labor Day. The Play in the Park program and the Kennedy Summer Day program begin July 2nd and go through August 23rd, I believe is that Friday. It does vary depending on the position, but most of them are starting the late June and going through Labor Day.
And these positions are not unionized, correct?
They are not.
I want to make that
They
clear
are
for
not.
everybody. You don't have to worry about any kind of union
No.
dues, but also you're not protected by a union. Just
Right.
keep that in mind. So
They're all temporary.
If you don't do right by Ms. Rapoza here, you're going to be having a conversation with
That's
her.
right.
But it's something I'm sure that you've had to deal with, unfortunately, here or there, but I'm willing to bet it's been few and far between. The young men and women, or even the other individuals that you've brought on, have all been very engaged, very professional, and it's been a great experience for everybody.
It really, like I said, it's a wonderful experience for me. And, as I said, there have been occasions where we've had young people who, got out of line. And even, there was one young lady the first year I started, and everyone was concerned that she was going to be a problem and wasn't going to last long. Well, she actually, with the coaching, she turned herself around and became such a great employee that the next year we hired her for a full-time position.
Oh, wow.
And the only reason we still don't have her is because she got a full-time job.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a great story, a great testimonial.
Yeah, it's true.
That's great. So if you want to bear with me for 1 minute,
Sure.
Mary, I have to pay the bills here, if you will. One of our sponsors, I have to do a little, we call a live read in the business.
Yes, do it.
So, folks, Junior Achievement of Southeastern Massachusetts is hiring, and they're seeking to fill an events and development coordinator position. So, JA of Southern Mass is a nonprofit organization, for those of you who don't know. Their goal is to empower young people to have their own and achieve their own economic success. So about the position, JF Southern Mass, headquartered in New Bedford, they're seeking a part-time events and coordinator position for about 20 to 25 hours a week to join their team. And the primary job responsibilities include to plan and coordinate and execute all the aspects of JA special events, so their Strikes for Success, the Ironman Golf Tournament, their Titan Business Challenge, and the Camp Spark event, amongst a whole myriad other of issues and initiatives to gather data, answer phones, be a great team player, maintain JA's event contact information, promote special events through social media and through other mediums. So if you are interested in applying for the position, let's just get this out there right now. The desired skills for the job are a bachelor's degree or equivalent, and they want preferably experience in coordinating events, and they want you to have exceptional organizational skills and attention to detail. Talked about hourly rates earlier and pay scales. The pay for this position is somewhere in the ballpark of $16 to $18 an hour. The compensation is commensurate with experience, so if you have a little bit more, you'll be on the higher end in that 18 and so forth and so on. And the final offer will be contingent on the applicant passing the background check, the query. So to apply, please submit your resume and cover letter to jasm.resumes@gmail.com. Please, folks, no calls, and the position will be filled as soon as the candidate is found. Again, the email is JASM, as in Junior Achievement of Southern Mass, so JASM, resumes, RESUMES, resumes@gmail.com. And don't forget, folks, if you want to have your workforce needs met, if you're looking to hire and you want to reach out into the greater New Bedford, South Coast community, and really all of southeastern Massachusetts and the nether regions of Massachusetts, there's really no better place than right here on New Bedford Guide. We have had a lot of employers like Junior Achievement, like Qdoba, like East Care, many others. They've advertised with us, and guess what? We've been fired because we do such a good job. It's the truth. The reality is that every time an employer advertises with us, that company gets flooded with resumes the next day or next couple of days, and they are able to get their needs met. So if you're interested in advertising on this show or our New Bedford Guide, whether through the Facebook page or whether through the website, please email Leo Montero at newbedfordguide.com. He'll take great care of you. And again, if you're hiring and you're outreaching in the community and you're looking for help to fill your needs, there's no better place than right here at New Bedford Guide. We have the viewership to prove it. Mary, this show here, I guarantee you, by the end of the week, will probably be in the 30, 40,000 view range, which is pretty good.
That's great.
If we put a boost behind it, who knows? We may get even to 100,000.
Wow.
But And that's why I work a lot with New Bedford Guide and with the Chamber. We've done a lot with them as well because the value is certainly there. And New Bedford Guide being the lead sponsor of the South Coast Job Fair, which will be on April 19th at Greater New Bedford Voc Tech from 10 to 3. We're going to have over 100 employers there, local, regional, national companies, everything from GED level to PhD level work. It's going to be there. So make sure you certainly stop by the job fair that day. Bring a resume. Come dressed for success. The South Coast Job Central show that week will be on location from Voc, so we're going to have it there. And we're going to be divulging more information about the job fair as we get closer. There'll be posts about it with the employers, and we'll be having other guests on this program to talk about the job fair. But I want to make sure that you folks mark down that date, which is Thursday, April 19th from 10 to 3 at Voc. And that's actually the day before the deadline ends to apply to work for Mary. So, Mary, there are so many great jobs. We talked about lifeguards, we talked about working in the parks, but there's a bunch of other things too. I mean, we talked about the park ambassador, but there's a van monitor position, there's a van aide and a driver position, there's a waterfront supervisor. There's a whole lot of different positions here I've never seen before, which are really cool. And I'm seeing here site supervisors, program director. You talked about the Kennedy Day summer program. A lot of these positions are also contingent on CDBG funding, correct?
That's correct. A lot of our programming is funded by CDBG. So the Kennedy Summer Day program receives Community Development Block Grant funding. The lifeguards are actually city funded.
Yep.
The beach lot attendants and the park ambassador are funded through the parking revenue that we receive down at the beaches. And the site monitors, the site supervisors, the folks who participate in the summer food program and the Play in the Park program are funded through the U.S. Department of Agriculture, which is funneled through the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Ed.
When all is said and done, when all the applications are in and you're vetting them out, how many young men and women and how many men and women in general are you looking to hire and employ this summer?
We usually hire between 90 and 100 folks every summer.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
Creating a lot of jobs for folks this summer.
It's true.
And the hours typically are of these jobs, they differ, or what's the deal?
They do differ quite a bit. So the summer food program, the kids who are in the parks are there from 11 to 2. The site monitors and the food service providers who support them work more like 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And then Kennedy Summer Day is an 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. program, so the staff starts a little earlier and ends a little later. And those are all Monday through Friday. The lifeguards, of course, are 7 days a week, as are the beach lot attendants and the park ambassador, because there's an awful lot happening on the weekends, so we need to have staff there.
So that was my next question. Weekend and holiday hours as well?
Yes, absolutely. Of course, in the parks and at the beaches, those are prime times, so we have to have the staff there.
4th of July, I mean,
Yes.
It is what it is,
Oh,
right?
yeah, yep,
You sign up, you know what you're getting into.
That's right. We're pretty clear that those folks need to be available weekends and holidays.
That's excellent. So again, for those who want to apply, the process again is?
So the process is, the application is available at our office at 181 Hillman Street, Building 3.
Kind of tucked away in a little alleyway.
Yeah, you have to
but
go down the drive, and we're behind Trinity, the Trinity School.
For those of you who don't know, it's the old Voc.
Yes.
The old Voc. They called it vocational, right?
Yes.
The old vocational.
And the applications are also available on the city's website. So if you go to newbedford-ma.gov and go to the Parks and Rec drop-down, you'll see, or if you go to the Personnel Office drop-down as well, the applications for summer employment are available there. The applications need to be brought in person to our office with a photo ID. And that ID can be a driver's license, but it can also be a school ID as long as it has a photo on
Yep.
it. And once those applications are collected in our office, then we start sorting them and calling folks in for interviews or contacting them about job opportunities.
If someone is offered a position with the city for the summer, do they go through your office to fill out their human resource paperwork? Or do they have to go through
No.
William Street and Sandy Vizino? They go right through you for all of that?
For the summer employment, we handle everything in-house. And we actually, the summer employment package, filling out the HR paperwork, for a first-time person can be quite daunting, so we actually hold workshops for the kids who need the extra attention to get those packets completed.
What do you look for in an ideal candidate to work for you in your department for the summer?
So someone who of course, is interested in working with the public. All of these are direct service jobs, so you're going to be talking to your neighbors and city visitors.
Yep.
So that's really important. Someone who takes their, responsibility for their job very seriously, because all of these jobs, there is a lot of responsibility attached to all of them. Even the young people in the parks are often, charged with the parents to, engage the kids and keep an eye on them for some piece of time. And then really, someone who's a team player and who is willing to work with all the employees and just make it an enjoyable summer for everyone who's involved.
That's great. And you mentioned it earlier, I mean, certain skill sets, other than lifeguard, because that's specialty training, but everything else you can train for the most part,
Yep.
and you can teach. And I know there's a 2-day training period for some of these positions, but it's about the attitude.
It is. It really is.
It's like if you're a Patriot fan, those who follow Bill Belichick. It's not always about that high-priced free agent, right, who might have the best hands in the NFL, might be the best wide receiver. It may be the best team chemistry player who can fit in the system and do the little things to add up to the big things.
Right, and are willing to learn. Because there's lots of opportunity to learn new skills. And if you're willing to learn new skills, you're going to have the opportunity to do that.
Great. Mary, anything else you wanted to add about this position or any of these positions?
Only that, they really are a great opportunity, that staff comes back year after year, so I think they're having fun, which is great, because there's no reason that you can't have fun while you're working. And, we're excited to see the candidates that come forward this year. The last thing that I really should mention is that you do have to be a New Bedford resident. That's an important point that we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yes.
Yes. No residency waivers for summer jobs.
No.
We don't do that. But when we have a city of 100,000 folks, give or take, you shouldn't have a problem, and you typically don't have a problem filling these voids.
The only time we ever have a problem is with the lifeguards. We do have to have enough lifeguards to cover the beaches 7 days a week, and as I said, it's a difficult commodity. There are a lot of jobs out there for lifeguards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you said, we're paying for the most part a prevailing wage for them to attract them to work in
right.
New Bedford.
And we're offering the lifeguard certification training every year, so there's an opportunity for New Bedford residents to get involved in the lifeguard profession. And
Oh, great.
yeah.
Great. And one last time, if you want to give your address, your phone number, and your
Sure.
website.
It's 181 Hillman Street, Building 3, and that's New Bedford. The website is, City of New Bedford is at newbedford-ma.gov. And the phone number at the office is 508-961-3015.
I'll make sure, folks, that our producer, Josh Souza, puts those links below in the comments.
Oh, great.
So that you'll be able to have all that information. And the deadline, again, is April 20th.
April 20th, that's right.
By 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
You bet if you're not there by 3:59 p.m. on the 20th with this in hand, you may be out of luck. But we need to obviously give you time, give your
That's
folks
right.
time to be able to vet all these applications out.
Yeah, it's a process, but we enjoy it.
And you'll be at the job fair as well on the 19th.
will.
So you had a lot of success at it last year.
We
Hopefully
did.
you'll have it again.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Thank you for inviting us.
Mary, it was a pleasure to have you on our program.
Thanks, my pleasure.
So again, our guest today was Mary Rapoza. She is the department head and director of the New Bedford Department on Parks, Recreation, and Beaches, talking about the summer jobs program here at the City of New Bedford. If you are interested, please go over to 181 Hillman Street and grab an application and fill it out. For our guest, Mary Rapoza, for our producer, Josh Souza, I am your host once again, Ian Abreu, and this has been another edition of the South Coast Job Central. From all of us here, we look forward to seeing you all again next week, God willing. Take care, everybody.